I'm fucking mad, dude. I'm just gonna record myself saying this out loud while it's hot on my mind, while I'm mad. YouTube comments have just gotten so freaking bad, dude. Like, it's getting to the point where I don't really even want to use YouTube that much anymore. Like, there's so many good creators, there's so much good content, personally, in my opinion. Like, I'm just subbed to so many people where I watch them all the freaking time. But for me, part of the YouTube experience was always going into the comment section, commenting, leaving replies, liking comments that I agreed with, just going into the discussion, because you couldn't do that with television, and you couldn't do that with, Apple Podcasts or anything like that. I don't think there's ever been really a website or any form of media or medium, really, where there's just this long video or long bit of content, and then just everybody in their replies dissect it, analyze it, and look into it. That's really an experience that to me has been unique to YouTube. I know some people they say oh, Reddit, oh, 4chan, oh, message boards, they post a topic and then everybody discuss it, but it's not really true. It's not the same. It's not like going into a Let's Players video and it's a 10-minute video, right? And you go into it and there's just people with timestamps talking about individual things that the Let's Player discussed or talked about. I know that this isn't really something that people can relate to today because Let's Playing has become kind of a not very popular genre. But to me, that was really one of my favorite experiences on YouTube. I used to be a big fan of Game Grumps and all sorts of other Let's Players where I would just go in there and I would just be I'd just see people talking about stuff. There would be discussions in the video about random topics, and then it would get me interested in giving my thoughts and my opinions on it. And I would just organically go into the comments and I would see people talking about it, and it would just be fun to engage with them. That's not the case with the Game Grumps channel anymore, or many other channels for that matter. Mostly just because what you're able to say on YouTube in comments it's gotten progressively harder to share an opinion. It used to be just because with those specific channels, like Game Grumps or Markiplier or something like that, their fan bases just became so protective to the point where you can't really have a discussion. If you go to the Game Grumps or comment section or Markiplier comment sections, literally all they are is just people sucking up. It's just people, being oh, you guys do such an amazing service, you guys do such an amazing thing. And personally, I just don't have fun with that environment. I think that it's fun when some people are talking shit. I like it when people, are in there and they're saying mean things sometimes, and sometimes people are saying, oh, I really disagree with his point here. This is fucking stupid, and not just in oh, this is problematic, because you have that too. You would have people just actually being offended by things that were said in a video. That's something that started happening too with those comment sections, and it was just how do you respond to that? Someone says they're offended, someone says that their feelings are hurt. What are you gonna go in there and just be oh, you shouldn't have your feelings hurt? Yeah, that's the obvious thing to say, but then there's just there's nothing more to it. Just you go in there and you're you're a baby. And that's the thing. You can't even say that now. You can't even talk shit. You can't even go into all those sensitive people and just be you know what? I'm tired of your sensitivity. I'm tired of your bullshit. I'm gonna talk shit to you, and I'm gonna really make you mad. You can't be like that anymore, because as I've recently discovered, YouTube is just deleting comments now. and they're not letting you know when the comments are deleted. They'll just delete them, and like the comment will go up. It'll last like a certain indeterminate amount of time. I've been keeping track on it because they have a comment history thing now, and I'll like refresh it and I'll see like how long it takes for a comment with like not even like any like slurs or anything. A comment with like mildly like negative language. And when I say that, I mean like, you know, calling someone an idiot, or saying that something that someone said is dumb, or, you know, just, you know, not even like directly talking about them, just having like, saying that something negative about something else. It's just like, if you're not like super formal and really politically correct about it, then I would say like 8 times out of 10 it will get deleted. And it's just ridiculous. I don't understand why YouTube does this. It's just like I don't get it, really. It's just like, you have a comment section, it's there to discuss the video. Do you just want it to just be suck-ups? Is that it? Like, for every single comment section, no negative criticism allowed. And yeah, there'll be negative criticism. It'll just be worded in like the most like safe way. You just can't call somebody like, you can't just be like, oh, this video's hella gay, you know. You can't be like that. You can't be like, you know, super casual about it, because you'll leave that comment and then it'll just like become invisible to everybody. And this isn't just like commenting on other channels. This isn't like a specific thing like, oh, this person has certain words that they filter. That's not it. I actually recently saw a YouTube pooper / shitposter that I follow, a very small channel. He commented, he recently got banned from Twitter, and he goes into his own comment section because people are asking him why he got banned. So, and he just apparently repeats whatever he said on Twitter that got him banned, or like try to explain it, like explain why he got banned. YouTube deleted his own reply, like, to a comment on his own video. And it's just like, I see that and I'm like, that's fucking ridiculous. How can you do that? How can like you like have it be so bad and so sensitive that like people now have to discover ways to get around a just completely not transparent filter on comments? That's so dumb. Like, especially when YouTube comments are so notorious for being like this raw, unfiltered like mess, like this complete cesspool of like toxicity. That's kind of, when you go into a YouTube comment section and you want to like engage with commenters, that is like, as weird as it is to say, I know not a lot of people would agree with me on this, but for me, the appeal of it is that you want to go in and you want to see people talking shit. You want to, I want to go in there personally, and I want to go in and be like, alright, I want to see people, you know, dropping all sorts of like words that people aren't supposed to say. I want to see people like really going for the throat on each other. I want to see people like going to each other's channels and being like, oh, you have this like shit video, and it's like, you know, just I want to see like that like sort of toxic discussion in a comment section sometimes, because it's fun and it's like engaging, and it's like you don't really have that anywhere else. There's like so many social media sites these days where it's just like they allow like these sort of messages to get shared easily and distributed and like screenshotted and retweeted or whatever the fuck. And all that does is just create this mob mentality. It's not ideas versus ideas, or, you know, people within a community deciding which idea in a comment section better reflects the community. It's like, that's what most like media sites are, you know. They're just like, it's just this giant like hive mind of like-minded people that develops over time. That's like how Twitter is, you know. But on YouTube, it used to be different. It used to be like, no, if you're in this guy's comment section, it's like if you go into a comment section on like a political YouTuber that has a certain set of beliefs, and you go in there and you start throwing all this like troll stuff out, like, you know, being like, you basically like the opposite opinion, then you're gonna get shit on, you know, and people are going to, who respond to you, are gonna get more likes, and they're gonna get more support, and that's just how it works. It's like every single creator's comment section is its own little micro community and bubble of people who generally think similarly. And I think that was kind of what made YouTube appealing for me, at least. Hold on. But ultimately, none of that mattered. Ultimately, when you go into a YouTuber's comment section, you know, you're not just going in there for like-minded shit, you know. It's like that's part of it. You kind of like, certain comment sections will appeal to you more than others, is like a huge part of it. It's almost like, I don't know, because I'm not a Reddit user. Some people like compare it to like different boards on Reddit, you know, where like different communities and boards on Reddit like have a different vibe. It's almost like a Discord server, you know, only it's a little bit more public, and there's like some scrutiny from like some people who are outside of the community or are new to it, so there's just a large, vastly different number of perspectives that go into the discussion. But ultimately, you're just going in there to talk to people, and you can't do that now. It's like there's no ability to have discussion. Not just because of the censorship, but because the actual way that replies, likes, and dislikes work all do not function correctly. And what I mean by that is, when you get a reply to a YouTube comment today, it doesn't always alert you, you know? And the same thing goes for if you respond to a chain of comments, then you won't be alerted of every single time that there is a reply to that chain of comments. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say like this person makes a post, you know, like makes a comment, and then I reply to it, and another person replies. Now they're not replying to me, but they're replying to the post that I replied to. I should be notified of that person's reply. That is my opinion. I think that if I am interested in this post, I want to be notified of all replies. Now, some people might not feel that way. Some people are like, oh, well, then you have like those two idiots that are just going back and forth, and they're calling each other names, and they're being, you know, they're being cringe, you know? And like, yeah, that happens sometimes. And you know what? If you don't like that, I personally love that. But if you don't like that, then there should be a setting that allows you to set your notifications, like, for that sort of thing. Like, set it to be like, okay, unless a person's directly adding me, I don't want to ping. I think that's cool. But two things. First of all, YouTube doesn't always notify you if somebody adds you. I've seen this. I've had people respond, adding me, or responding to a comment that I left, like, maybe, like, 4 years ago. And they'll at me, and they'll respond to shit, and they'll just, like, they'll talk in, like, this chain. And I'll just see it, and it'll go on for months and months, like, for 2 months, like, recent months. But I won't be notified of a single one of those replies. And rarely, just on rare occasion, it'll just like show me one of them. It'll just like, out of nowhere, like, this person responded to your comment, but they're responding to like me and somebody who responded to me who I wasn't notified of, that responded to me like 2 months ago. And that's just garbage. Like, how can you expect anybody to hold a conversation on YouTube or have any like knowledge of like what they have posted. Like, okay, imagine this. This happened to me a couple days ago. I posted something like in 2016, something that I looked back on and I was like, I don't agree with this post anymore, you know? But I completely forgot about it. It was completely out of mind, out of sight, out of mind for like 4 years, you know? And this comment is just sitting here for 4 years. Everybody can see it, and I don't agree with it anymore. But I don't know that it's getting a bunch of negative traction. I don't know that it's like people are starting to be like, yo, this comment sucks, you know? This like is a point that you made that aged really badly. You know, I don't know any of that because they're not notifying me that people are responding to it. Now, which is worse, knowing that you have people shitting on you, or having people shitting on you and you don't know it? Like, I think everybody could agree that if you like leave something like years ago and you're just like, it's like when you're like you know, in college or something and now you have a job, but like, you know, people are like angry at something that you said back then you would want to know, so either you can delete the comment or respond to what people are saying and with like a point that like, no, my opinion has changed since then, this is what I think now. And it's just like, again, this is a situation where some people might be like, oh, but I don't want to be notified of anything I wrote like years ago. I just want to like keep it out of sight, out of mind. Like, you know, it doesn't affect me anymore. I'm not the same person anymore. Fair. But give us the fucking option to have that setting. Like, it's a no-brainer. Why is this like and I hate that nobody is talking about this. You know, I look at all these fucking commentary channels on YouTube, on Storyfire, and none of them talk about just how bad the YouTube comment section is, and like how comments are just so awful. It's like, because none of them use it. YouTubers, content creators, they don't use the comment section. That is something that almost exclusively people who are like, you know, diehard YouTube viewers, you know, who indulge in lots of YouTube content like I do. Like, YouTube's like my primary source of entertainment. I could listen to maybe upwards of 8 hours of YouTube, possibly every day. So it's just like, this has just been an issue, a problem for my experience doing, like, as a viewer on the platform, that just has borderline made me not want to use it anymore. It's like, give us options. I want options for notifications. I would love options for other things as well. Like, for years now, YouTube has been suppressing the dislike feature on comments. Yeah, there's signs that I've seen where comments that have an unpopular opinion from years back, you know, that were heavily disliked or are heavily disliked, I would presume, even though I don't know anybody that dislikes comments now. Like, those comments go to the bottom of the, like, you know, the comments page, unless you're searching by newest. It's just like, presumably I would think so, at least. But it's just like, if there's no counter on it, there's no like symbol of like, this is how many people agree with you, this is how many people disagree with you, then what's the point? You get all these, what you end up with is you get these comments that everybody has seen these, where it's like on a major channel, you have a guy being like, hey guys, like this comment if you think that this is like, you know, hot dogs are great, and reply to the comment if you think burgers are better, you know, this sort of thing, where it's like clearly just trying to get top comment, serves no like actual fucking purpose for getting like, for being on the video at all, you know. But back in the day, I remember in like 2012, you would get comments that were similar like that, but they would be with like likes and dislikes, so they weren't obnoxiously always pushed to the top. It's just that it would just be like a little fun game that I guess people would play. So it's just like, if you just brought that dislike counter back, it would immediately like mean that all those people would be like irrelevant. Like, you would just be able to dislike the comment and stuff and just push it down, and people would like get some satisfaction of being like, okay, these horrible comments that serve no purpose for like actually like discussing the video are just down. And oh god, there's other things too. People are always complaining about I see this mostly on music channels, where people are always complaining about people who try to get top comment, because I'll just get into this later, but there's just this complaint about like unoriginality in comments on those channels. People will often make the same joke and comment the same thing. Now, the reason why they do this is because they'll go into a comment section, they'll see a comment that got a shit ton of likes, right? Now, the way, I don't know why this is the case, but for some reason, when you sort by top comment, unless the comment is pinned by the creator at the top comment of a video changes over time. And not because it gets more likes. No. Once a comment gets a lot of likes, theoretically, it should always stay top comment, because there's this fundamental rule when it comes to the internet where there are certain types of people where they won't look through comments and sort them and like try to find like, you know, what is the best comment in the comment section. They'll just look at like the top 5 comments and they'll like the ones that they like, and usually the one that's at the top is the one that they'll just like the most. Now you have these people where they'll see that top comment, but they'll know that YouTube is going to refresh the comment section. They know that when the comment section gets refreshed and it's like whichever one has the most likes after it's refreshed will be pushed to the top, then they're going to try to gun for that top comment like position by literally copying and pasting the exact same comment from the current top comment. And it's garbage. It's just like it's like these desperate people that really want to get a lot of attention. Now, how do you suppress those? How do you get like those to go away? You fucking bring the dislike counter back. You have it be a thing where people who notice this shit and they're tired of it and they want to see it like go away, they can just dislike the shit out of the comment, and they can like leave a response that's just like, oh, this is just a copy paste comment, and people would like the shit out of it because they'll see the dislikes and they'll just be like, okay, and it'll just be cool, you know? There's no quality of life features there's no quality of life features on YouTube when it comes to the comment sections. There's no settings that you can go to that will allow you to allow yourself to get notified by more things. There is no notification that tells you when a comment of yours has been spam filtered or deleted by YouTube itself for some sort of like unknown, like it's a hurtful comment reason. There is nothing. Your comments will be deleted, filtered, and sifted through, and or just like completely removed from visibility. And YouTube will not tell you a damn thing. And it just kind of gives off this vibe of this is artificially trying to control and limit how much people can have conversation. The only options in regards to notifications that I'm aware of is you can have settings that set it to be where like you don't get notifications for comments at all, and that sort of thing. Like, they only have settings that make it so you can have less notifications. There's no comments, there's no like setting that says that, oh well, if you really want to have someone get a notification for every time that you get a like on your comment or something like that. You know, it's like there's no like advanced settings for comment notifications, and it's garbage. It just means that you like when they do this shit and they just start making it so like, whoops, you can't see anything. You can't see any of the replies or likes or anything like that to comments that you make, then it makes you just wonder, what is even the point of commenting at all? What is the point of trying to discuss things with people when you almost have to do it like 4chan and fucking like check back on the posts like after a couple minutes? What's the point? I don't want to check back on the post after a couple minutes. I have shit to do. If somebody responds to me, just let me know and I'll respond back. It doesn't seem so hard, but it's like this major issue on YouTube. And it's killing the experience of the viewer. People always talk about how bad content creators have it. Like, how bad, like, YouTube is for content creators. Nobody talks about how bad it is for viewers. There's so much, like, wrong with recommended for viewers. There's so much now, like, that I'm talking about wrong with commenting. The search feature is kind of fucked. So, here's how I'll just go on a small little thing. The search feature on YouTube, like, I love searching by newest because you will get like really crappy like ghetto content, right? You'll get like this really like dude in his basement with like no light, like talking to a camera, like something you'd see in like 2007. You get that kind of video only by looking on newest, right? You know, and sometimes those can be outright golden, you know? Those sort of videos can sometimes just be like, you just laugh your ass off at them. You're just like, oh my god, this is like the weirdest crap, you know? But YouTube doesn't show you everything that is the newest. In order to get everything that is the newest within a certain day, like, you have to do newest and then select today. If you just hit newest, it'll like, for a lot of search terms, it'll just be like, alright, here is like something that got some views today for the first result, and then like, here's something from like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month, 2 months, 4 months, like that sort of thing. And that'll be what newest looks like. When you do it based on today, you will get like 100 results, and it'll actually like most likely be the closest thing to like what actual newest looks like. So you'll just get like these hundreds of videos that have 0 views, and it is literally like a amazing like treasure trove of bullshit. You will get so many like spam channels that are just spamming the same content over and over again, and it has like no effort put into it. It's like made on like an iPad app. It's like and there's like 50 channels that are named the same thing, and they'll just post this stuff, and like really it's like hidden in there. You'll just get like occasional like vlogs and really weird videos that you just get, there's no like genre for them. But if these videos don't get enough views after being on newest for a certain amount of time, then they'll just be unsearchable. You will not be able to search them even if you have their exact specific name typing it into the search engine. You will not be able to find it. Even if it's tagged, you will not be able to find this video if it, like, with its specific search tags and everything. It will just be impossible to discover. And I just find that to be fascinating. It's just like, it's almost like the video doesn't even exist at that point. It's almost like it's unlisted. You would have to theoretically find the person's channel and then look through their video uploads. You cannot search for it. And I just think that that is so weird to me. Like, I understand, like, YouTube wanting to spam filter and, like, get rid of certain videos, but when it gets to, like, a point where it just kind of feels like, you know, you're not able to even find something like that, it really truly means that every time you look at the newest bar, you're looking at something that is truly unique to the specific time that you searched. And that, to me, makes it almost an exciting little hobby. It's one of the few... it almost feels like you're breaking the rules. Like, you're seeing things that you're not supposed to see at a very specific moment. I think that that's just a real fun hobby, but it feels unintentionally fun. It feels like it's only mostly fun because of how bad YouTube newest and YouTube searching is. Like, you could also search by lowest views on certain things, but even then, like, you won't get like accurate results for that. You won't get accurate results if you search by views either. Like, it will sort of cherry pick certain specific videos from a certain time period, usually very old ones. It's weird that the majority of the real, like, garbage content that you can find, like, the real, like, weird shit, is stuff that you can search for, just at, like, newest today. It's interesting. And that's, like, actual YouTube content. Like, that's not, like, really, like, filtered, like, super, like, politically correct or, formal content. That is, like, grungy, like, you know, like, classic YouTube stuff. And really, it's kind of what many people like myself think to be just the YouTube aesthetic. You know? Just people, anybody, normal people, making videos of whatever they really feel like, and then posting it online. To me, that's just what YouTube's all about. YouTube's kind of lost that. It's kind of lost that. Like, I know Emp Lemon did a much better summary of that in his video, YouTube's been on a downward spiral. That's an old one, and it's really depressing to me now watching it. But even now, it's so true. It's just like it's lost that appeal of, yo, this is like people just uploading themselves on the internet, people just like being genuine, and it's just kind of turned into people understand how to appeal to YouTube. They know how to market themselves, they know how to be characters, and the whole site just reeks of fakeness now. And that's not just from content creators, that's from users and viewers, in my opinion. You'll have these fucking people who will jump on like a big like cancel culture like drama train, like they're Twitter users, they're Reddit users, and they'll come to YouTube, and someone on YouTube will have a big slick video where they'll say something like, this guy on YouTube is a problem. You know, like H3H3 calling Keemstar out. It's like, this guy's a problem, this guy's a bully, and they'll present all this shit that YouTubers and YouTube audience members already fucking know. And then all these people from these external sites, they'll jump on the bandwagon, they'll get on the hate train, and they'll just completely like act like they know everything that they're talking about. You know, it happened with YouTube Wake Up also. There's just this guy who came on, Matt Watson, who came on, and he was like, YouTube has like this pedophile stuff, like, you know, like, oh, there's all these people like going on these kids videos commenting like weird pedophile stuff, and people were like, oh man, like, yeah, there's like this rabbit hole, dude, there's like this like wormhole of like, you know, kids content, and like it recommends it and everything. Like, they don't know how the recommendation system works. They don't know that it's like, yeah, when these things are tagged with similar tags, it recommends similar content. It's automated. That's how it works. But then they're just like, oh no, it's like it's YouTube purposefully trying to, you know, help these pedophiles and stuff. And it's just like, they don't know what they're talking about. They haven't used YouTube. They don't actively use it as their source of entertainment. They're just these fucking morons that are probably watching stuff on like Amazon Prime or Netflix. They're just like these like fucking neo-boomers that haven't given up on mainstream media content. They're still fucking addicted to it. They still go and they like watch fucking soccer or some shit, and they're just like, yeah, man, like this stuff's bad. Like, man, I can't believe like YouTube is a site that exists even. And it's just like, bruh, like I don't get it. I don't like those sorts of people, like H3H3. They are the death of YouTube, just from a fundamental level. All of this sensitivity that I'm talking about, all of this stuff about like YouTube deleting like a dude's comment on his own channel, all of that shit, all of that little like we can't offend anybody, no dislikes on comments, no hurting anybody's feelings, treat everybody like they're a baby with a fucking walnut brain. Yeah, you know. Babies probably don't have like brains the size of walnuts. They probably like, it's probably smaller, but fucking the walnuts are pretty big. But seriously, it's like they act like everybody is the most fragile fucking person ever. All of these people do, and everybody acts so formal now. It's like even edgy commentary YouTubers that I like It's a Gundam or Leafy or Keemstar, they'll just have moments occasionally where it's just like they'll be on Twitter. Okay, Leafy doesn't give a shit, but Keemstar and It's a Gundam, they'll have like these things where it's like they'll go on Twitter and then like it's almost like they're talking to the press. They're talking to like, you know, their employer or like a lawyer or something, you know, or like a judge, and they're being like, you know, like, I have spoken with the plaintiff and we've reached a settlement, you know, like they talking like this fucking like they talking this fucking like, you know, lawyer speak, man. Like, what the fuck is that shit? That's not genuine. That's not you. You're fucking like, if those guys like, they're freaking like crazy dudes, man. They're not like you know, like going around being like, yes, I would like to issue a formal statement on the matter. You know, like, fuck that. Fuck all the formality. We're not, like, I understand being formal when you're working your job. Like, I have a job, right? You know, when I'm at my job and I'm talking to my employer and stuff, I understand, like, there's a certain way that you have to be respectful to people, you know? But I think that the entire dream of YouTube, the entire dream of being a content creator, is to be able to make a bunch of money and get around that. It's why I thought Game Grumps was so endearing when I was a huge fan of them. When I was a big fan of Game Grumps, I was drawn to them because they were these immature guys, like, you know, like, well, depending on the version. With John and Aaron, it was like, I loved them because they were two, like, you know, two crude dudes that loved video games and loved discussing them. Like, the discussion was really the key part of John and Aaron's chemistry. But with stuff like Ross and Dan and Aaron and all that shit, it was really just the fact that they were crude guys playing video games for a living, like making money playing video games. Like, who the fuck, you know, back in 2013 or prior, didn't dream about being a guy who can make money playing video games, of all fucking things, and just shooting the shit with friends? You know, that's the dream. And when you represent somebody's dream, when you represent, like, you know, somebody's, like, just, like, passion and ambition, when you, like, personify that on the other side of a screen and, like, everything, it's just, like, it creates a certain, you know, feeling of, like, trust and loyalty in that, you know? Like, I was always kind of a loyalist to the Grumps. I was always just kind of like, whenever people would say shit like, you know, oh, they're not good enough at playing the games, I was like, tough shit, bro. Like, fucking, they don't have to be good at the games. They can just be, like, shooting the shit and stuff. I wouldn't give a fuck. They're just two dudes, like, hanging out, like, doing some shit together. Like, and they're making big bucks doing it. I'm like, I see that and I'm like, fuck yeah. And it's not like I'm being taken advantage of, because I love their banter. I love their like little shit that they're saying back and forth. They were like making all sorts of like, you know, like crazy stupid jokes, you know? Like they would just say some shit that like like their freaking like Spinnaker joke back in like Kirby's Epic Yarn, where they just make up a fake racial slur and like start doing like fake like racial slur jokes. Like that was so fucking funny to me. And that sort of like edge to them like was just so appealing. Like not just edge, I hate to use that word too much, but really just the crudeness and like the vulgarity of it. You really didn't get to see anybody succeed off of that. There's a certain endearing thing about that, this sort of rebellious thing that drew me in. And it's still if they were like that today, if they were still those guys being crazy and playing video games and not giving a fuck what anybody thinks, I would fucking still be watching them. I would still be watching those guys. But they aren't anymore. They care too much. They issued out an apology on Twitter being all like, oh, like, you know, we're sorry about all the jokes we used to make. And I'm like, nah, B, like, don't be apologizing for shit. You don't have anybody to apologize to. I guess you do now, because now you have like this insane Tumblr artist that's always like fan base, this insane Tumblr fan base that's always fucking drawing art of them. And it's like so many other YouTubers underwent that transformation too. And I'm starting to just think that it's like, it's just what the site does to you. It's like they just start changing the way that they operate. They start demanding that you act a certain way. And everybody just does it because nobody wants to stop making that money. And there just comes a point where I think that enough is enough, you know? Like, some people have managed to be creative enough to the point where it hasn't hurt their content. Like Internet Historian or Emperor Lemon or Simple Flips, you know, with his competition hack streams and everything. And the VODs for that. Like, just awesome stuff, awesome communities, awesome like content, but not everyone is capable of doing that, and just the landscape of everything has become so difficult that, you know, when I heard that Leafy legit got banned for the stuff he was doing, I was shocked. Like I know that like some people were like, oh, how would you be shocked, like he's been like bullying people for years. Like, motherfucker, like Leafy's been bullying people for years? Really? Is that what you fucking think? Because, like, the way I see it, who's, like, Leafy's, like, worst victims? Tommy NC, Mr. Black Darkness 666. They're both pals with him now. Tommy NC, he goes up to Leafy and he's like, hey, man, I want you to, like, be on the show, man. I like you, man. I have, like, a show now. I want to, like, collab with you. Mr. Black Darkness 666, he fucking made an outro for Leafy in his last video. And it was like really well done. So it's like okay, so like his greatest victims, the guys that were like, oh, like your fans are giving me death threats. It's like fucking they realize it's a work. They realize that it's like this, you know, it's a work. Like it's just like, fuck, man. Like, no, everybody takes this shit so seriously. They think it's like this big issue, and then like these guys that are like, you know, the big victims, they're just like, nah, man, this made me, man. This made people like sub to me. This made people like support me, man. You, like, the greatest gift you ever did to me was turning me into a fucking victim. Online, and all these fucking plebs came in and just started treating me like I'm fucking king. Like, it's so fucking stupid. Like, yeah, all these people are like, oh man, Leafy, like, you know, he just bullied like mentally challenged people and like kids. It's like, no, he bullied, like, he, you know, quote unquote bullied scam artists. He like went after con artists. He went after like people who were doing illegal shit. He like, you know, went after people who were making fake videos and trying to create fake buzz and like was like, you know, oh guys, this is so motherfucking fake. You know, it's like Leafy just didn't give a fuck, man. He like was hitting everybody. And like, you know what? iDubbbz was the same way with his Kickstarter crap series. He was hitting people with disabilities, you know? You don't remember that fucking Kickstarter crap video with the guy with the cyber matrix? Yeah, you know, like, I bet iDubbbz really, like, you know, wants you to forget that he also bullied, like, a freaking, like, autistic kid or, like, a guy with, like, some mental problems. I don't know what he had specifically. You know. Yeah, you know. Sometimes people with... And here's the thing. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, in my opinion. Sometimes people who have, like, mental issues, they'll do things online that, you know, it's not good. You know, it's kind of an embarrassing thing. And when that happens, like, you know, I think the nice thing to do, obviously, would be to comment and be like, hey, you know, you shouldn't be doing this. But they're not going to listen to that. Let's be real. They're not going to listen to you if you, like, just go down into their comments and be like, hey, man, this is really embarrassing. You should probably take this down. Like, they're not going to take it down. They're going to be like, fuck you, asshole. I can do whatever the fuck I want. You know, like... And when that, like... But if a guy like iDubbbz, like, you know, calls him out being like, hey, motherfucker, you're scamming people for money. You know, this is embarrassing. You shouldn't be scamming people for money, buddy. And then, like, the guy makes, like, a response where he's like, fuck you, iDubbbz. You fucking happy man, like, like, or whatever the fuck the guy said. Like if they do that, like, then it's just like, that's fair game, right? You can criticize that and you can make fun of that, right? Like, does it matter that, like, they have, like, this issue? Like, I think if anything, the fact that they have this issue means that there's grounds to criticize it more. Like, okay, let's say you go to a freaking, like, grocery store and there's just this guy and he has some sort of, like, issue. And he's just going around the shelves and he's just throwing stuff on the ground. He's being an obnoxious man and he's throwing stuff on the ground. Now, like, do you tell him to stop? Do you, like, you know, oh, but these people are like, oh, you can't tell him to stop. You know, he has, like, a mental problem. Like, you can't tell him to stop. You know, this is, like, just his thing that he does. Like, what the fuck? Like, what is wrong with calling these people out when they do dumb things? Like, when they just, like, do things that are, like, clearly socially unacceptable and, like, cringe. Like, what is so wrong about doing that? I don't get it. Like... And, like, you know, you'll have, like, and I could see it now, like, if I gave a shit about people, like, you know, responding, I could totally see someone being like, oh, well, it's because they don't know any better and they can't control it, dude, you know, like, and you know what? That's why they should be criticized for it, okay? If they can't control it, then there's someone else needs to take action. Someone else needs to be the person who comes in and be like, don't ever do this again. You know, scar the person. Make it so that they are, like, terrified of going out and being like, I saved your eggs, ma'am. Like, like, literally, like, I saved your eggs, ma'am. I'm gonna vlog. Can you please talk to the camera? And, like, when I watched the Tommy NC video, like, yeah, Leafy comes off as this, like, egotistical dude in it, you know, like, he comes off as literally like the bad guy from the Goofy movie, like that rich kid guy who, like, tries to cheat at the roller skate, like, derby. He comes off like that guy. That is, like, the sort of, like, you know, like, yeah, man, I got a couple pals, I'm, like, this super, like, popular guy. You know, that's how he comes off in, like, the Tommy NC video, and he's just like, look at this dude, I'm like clowning on this dude, like, yeah, man, like, you're a pretty good guy. You're a hero, Tommy. Like, you know, like, that sort of thing. Like, you saved that woman's eggs. It's like, he, like, comes off like that, and it's just like, it's like, bro, what the fuck? But he's playing a character, right? You know, he's clearly, like, just like playing a character and it's entertaining. It's like, you know, it's like he's just being a dick, essentially. He's like playing a dick. And like, but the guy in the video, he is doing like some embarrassing shit, right? Like he's doing like this stuff where it's kind of like, you know, it's like this like, you know, like, subscribe, positive energy, like this sort of stuff. And it's just like, you can't help but just kind of be like, you know, this guy's an idiot, you know? But it's like, if you can't call the person out on that sort of thing, if you can't call them out, that's just like, what the fuck? Do they just win? Do they just fucking win? Do they have to do whatever the fuck they want? It's like, I don't get that. I don't get that. And like, really, the big hypocrisy thing is that H3H3 has done this shit too. And iDubbbz, like, as I mentioned, with the fucking, like, Cyber Matrix shit, he's done this shit too. He, like, they both have. They have done everything that Leafy has done. And I don't care about, okay, like in Implement's video on Leafy, he mentions this thing where it's like, oh, like, you know, freaking H3H3 would tend to punch up, whereas Leafy would tend to punch down, and like H3H3 would try to make you laugh, and Leafy would try to make you mad. And I understand that in Leafy's vid, he did try to make you mad. Like, I'm not gonna refute that. He tried to like annoy you, some of the people that like he made videos about. Like when he made videos about like people who said like, you know, very like racist stuff, you know, or whatever, you know, or people who made or like the BuzzFeed videos, whenever he would make a video on BuzzFeed or a video on Jake Paul. Like, yeah, clearly he was like trying to make you angry at this person, like stir up like an anger within you, so it's like you kind of get like a high from it and you kind of want to learn more, you know? And that's kind of shitty. But I don't see like how H3H3's content differs that much in terms of what it essentially does. Like, how could you call Leafy's content harassment and bullying when fucking H3H3 would do the exact same shit? I don't understand, like, how all these motherfuckers, like H3H3, they're celebrating Leafy's channel getting deleted. But then, like, you really, like, look at it. You really look at, like, what was, like what they do, like, on their podcast or whatever, you know, or, like, H3H3, even whatever the fuck he talked about on his podcast about him numerous times. It's like, he's covered Keemstar, like, I think even in those 3 times, that's just as many, amount of times he's actually, like, talked about Keemstar than Leafy's actually talked about Pokimane. Like, actually, though. Like, I think that Leafy only talked about Pokimane maybe 4 times in like the Pokimane series, you know, and I would argue 3, because in one of them he wasn't addressing Pokimane specifically. He was talking about a Reddit post that one of Pokimane's fans wrote about him, you know, and he just read it out loud because the entire post was within itself kind of a joke, you know, and it's just like, how the fuck is that bullying and harassment covering a person like 3 times? I understand the thumbnail thing, but the fact that people are like using the thumbnail thing, like fucking, oh my god, like that one guy, like Zero Penguins, whatever the fuck, he fucking like said, like, I watched his video recently, it pissed me off so fucking much. He was all like, oh well, you know, the thumbnails, that's like textbook harassment, that's textbook. And I'm like, fucking thumbnails, really? We're saying that like you can't have somebody in your thumbnails and like in your fucking like your titles? What are they, fucking children? Are they fucking babies? Are you acting like Pokimane is a baby in a stroller and this person's like clowning on him? She's an adult woman. She's an adult. All of these people are adults involved. Why are we acting like, okay, man, like, you know, you put them in thumbnails, though. You posted pictures of them. You posted mean pictures and said mean words. Like, really? Really? We're gonna be like that? I understand that it's like, okay, you know, the fans do things, right? You know, there are kids in the audience, they know how to DDoS, they know how to trace IPs, they know how to do all this bad shit, they know how to, like, SWAT and all this shit. There are literal children that have nothing better to do, who will go to the lengths to make your life miserable if you are, like, this public figure on the internet. It happens. They're trolls. It happens. And that happens regardless of, like, coverage. You know, it might be, it might make you more of a target. It might put more of a crosshairs on you, but it is not like this big major issue. How are these, like, adults acting like, okay, this person said mean things about me? I get, like, fucking, they have literally less integrity than middle schoolers. When you get into middle school, like, after you've been into elementary school, you're done with the mean words thing. When a person says mean words about you when you're in middle school, you shrug it off. You act like it didn't happen. You know? You either act like it didn't happen, or you say mean words back. And then that's the end of it. You know? Double dumbass on you. That sort of fucking thing. Like... You learn that words don't matter when you're in fucking middle school, when the most brutal type of words are being said to you on a daily basis. That is the environment that middle schoolers go through. They go through this, like, borderline, like, gang environment, and it's pretty fucking awful, but they like, it toughens them up. It gets them, like, all tough. It maybe makes them a little cynical. That's what happened to me. You know, makes you a little cynical for a bit. Maybe makes you not trust people as much. But you learn that the world is tough, and you gotta be able to, like, regardless of what you're feeling, regardless of what a person is making you feel, you gotta chin up and not lose your shit. Because to lose your shit would be to be a freaking animal, you know? And it's just like, I don't understand where that's gone. You know, adults are supposed to be these people where it's like, you know, they can talk shit about each other, they can say mean things. They're like, and it just doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't hurt them anymore because they're adults. You know, that's what we are, right? Obviously, you don't say it in an office because there's this formal corporate environment where it's like, you know, there's all these harassment policies and everything. You know, obviously you don't do that because people are bitches sometimes. You know, obviously you act a certain way in a corporate office than you do at work. But the thing is, when you're a YouTuber, you shouldn't be at work. You should be a YouTuber. Like, and no. And I don't mean it as in, like, YouTube's not a job. I mean it as in YouTubers are paid to be personalities. And when you act like a formal business person as a YouTuber, you are fake. And when you are fake, you should lose your audience. Because your audience should only be invested in a personality that is genuine. That is, like, the biggest point that I can make in this, whatever the fuck this is, because I don't do commentary videos. This is just an experiment to see if, like, this is really just an experiment because I was pissed about something and I just wanted to rant about it. But it's like, when you are a personality, you need to be genuine, and you need a platform that can allow you to be genuine. And that platform used to be YouTube, and it isn't anymore. As a viewer and as a creator, you need to be able to be genuine. And being genuine involves being able to act however the fuck you naturally will. I see all this shit from iDubbbz's girlfriend, where she tweets out that, like, oh, I bet all these people talking about freedom of speech have never had a job in their lives. Well, that's not entirely true, because I do have a job. And a lot of other people who feel this way have a job. But we also have dreams, and we have ambitions. And we have things that we want to appreciate and strive to be. And if we can't be those things, if we can't even dream of being those things as viewers or be those things as YouTube creators, then what the fuck is the point of using YouTube as a viewer or as a creator? There isn't. If you are going onto YouTube and you are doing a grind like you're doing an actual job and you are making pennies on the dollar because YouTube pays like shit, then what the fuck are you doing? That's what we all want as people. We just want to be genuine and we want to follow our dreams. That is the YouTube dream, like, you know. And now I think it's the dream that people who are moving on to Storyfire and other websites currently have. You can't do it on Twitch. You can't do it on YouTube. Both of those sites just censor the shit out of you, and they really, really care about their advertisers and nothing but, and they don't give a fuck about the creator. And they don't advertise themselves in such a way that they appeal to the market of people who just want to experience genuine, homemade content from real people. They want safe, manufactured content from fake people. And they want comments from people who don't express their actual opinion, but instead just chase to be the biggest suck-up. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of YouTube being like that. I'm tired of all of that. And really, it is making me no longer appreciate or enjoy the platform, not as a creator, because I only do it as a hobby, but as a viewer. I'm just getting so sick of everybody acting so fucking formal, when really it used to be different, and it used to be so genuine, and it used to be so fun. It's just not fun anymore. And when I can't even be myself in the comment section, when I can't even go into that comment section and like have a harbor of reality, have a small little sanctuary of, okay, but this is the real shit, right? Once we get done with the video, if you can't have that, then it's like, what is the point? You know? I'll still watch YouTube content. I'll still watch the creators that I watch right now. But I am desperately craving something new and something genuine as a viewer and as a user of the site. And I'm hoping that Storyfire can be like that, you know, for commentary channels at least. Edgy commentary channels like Leafy or something. I hope that that platform, since it's being run by former YouTubers, I hope that that platform actually embraces the personalities of the content creators that post content on there. Alright, so that's about it for this video. I don't exactly know what this is. I just decided to rant in front of a microphone for a bit. There's an entire, 40 minutes extra that I've just completely cut out because I sort of end up going on this big rant about creators being fake on YouTube. And it just gets so horribly off topic compared to the beginning of this, where really I just wanted to make a video about talking about a viewer's experience on YouTube, because I see a lot of content creators just talking about all these struggles that creators go on YouTube, and I was thinking to myself, there are struggles that viewers have been going through too with the viewing experience that nobody's been talking about. And I did some thinking when I was listening back to the footage, and I remember that every single time there's one of these big controversies, people always accuse the other person of deleting comments. And it's starting to occur to me that I don't think people realize just how bad YouTube's comment deletion system is. I think that it actually isn't just spam filter even. Like, a lot of people, like, when it happens, they'll be like, it's spam filter, guys, it's automatic, YouTube does it, you know, all this stuff, but it's not just that. Comments are being deleted, and there's evidence of this. That is something that I think that more people need to talk about, and more people need to talk about just in general how shitty the comment system on YouTube is, and how bad it is for viewers, and how you could type out like 4 paragraphs of a comment, like an essay really, just pouring your heart out into a comment, and then some arbitrary unspoken rule will cause your comment to either get spam filtered for no reason, even though it hasn't been posted in any way that's like a duplicate, or it'll just get deleted because it's a little too mean or whatever, or it's like just read as being mean, you know. It's so sensitive. I think that is really just all I wanted to get out in this video. That's all I wanted to really rant about. I kind of went off on a tangent about other problems like Leafy and everything, and just like people's general response to that, just because I think that it actually relates, since the whole problem is YouTube being sensitive and shit. So I don't know if I'll upload the second half where I start going into like the fakeness and certain content creators and how people on YouTube aren't able to really be themselves and that sort of thing. It's like, I think it's a good portion, and I think I worded my thoughts really well. I just don't know if I want to upload it. Especially not with this. I want the topic of this video to be very focused. Secondly, I actually checked out Storyfire because I wanted to upload this video onto the Storyfire site, and what I'm gathering from commentary creators who have experience with Storyfire, I was watching a video by a guy named Optimus, I think his name is, and what I'm gathering is just that Storyfire is a very small website. You know, it's extremely tiny, and you know, there's a lot of hype around it. You know, people have made videos calling it the next YouTube and that sort of thing, and it's just like it's small, and it seems like right now they're really limiting what sort of creators can come over to it and post videos, because they don't want a bunch of people who upload shit like Family Guy funny moments compilations. They don't want like you know, SpongeBob episodes being uploaded in full. They don't want to get sued by Viacom or something, you know. That's the last thing they need, is $1 million lawsuit when they're just starting up. So I think that in general, if I had to, I'd like to talk a little bit about Storyfire before the video ends, because, you know, people have covered like the experiences as creators, but as a user, looking at the site, I would have a couple things that I would suggest. One is really that I really think that it needs dislikes. It needs dislike counters. I know that like it has hearts, like it has like, you know, you like the post, it has like hearts, and it actually tallies. There's actually a leaderboard that tallies how, like, what is the most liked post on there, and that sort of thing. But it needs dislikes. You'll need criticism at some point. I think that is something I would like to see added when more people get added to the site, when more people start joining. Because once the pool of creators starts getting bigger, I would like to dislike some of them. You know, I would like to, you know, it's, even if it's just not even like some creator specifically, even if it's like, okay, a guy I watch on Storyfire uploads a video that's not good, you know, then I want to dislike it. I want to like show him like that I don't really like the vid, you know. That's one thing. Second thing is, I really don't like how Storyfire has you follow the main Storyfire account automatically and you can't unfollow it. I understand that it's like, okay, you're gonna you're gonna eventually like get to a point where there's gonna be some important news updates and they want everybody to be posted on it immediately. But that's the other weird thing. There isn't like a subscription box. Like, hold on, let me actually check. Yeah, there's like subscriber videos, which is in like a homepage setting, but there isn't like a subscription feed for everybody individually, which I think is a very not user-friendly layout. I think that if I were to use this site more often, I would want to actually have a subscription feed. Just because, like, that is, like, the greatest tool on YouTube. It's, like, it's, like, the only actual, like, control that a user has, like, a viewer has, over the content that they're watching and enjoying. So, I would just say those three things, really. Allow people to unfollow the Storyfire official account. I think that is an important measure, not even because it's like, you know, I necessarily am craving for it. I just know it would annoy the fuck out of other people that I know. Other people would fucking hate that. It's like when you are on Instagram, like if they had you like follow the official Instagram account all the time and they just started putting up like promotion shit. And it's just like, I don't give a shit. I want to like see what John Cena is fucking putting up, you know? Like I don't really use Instagram, but if I did use Instagram regularly, that would be like the only purpose of me like going on there. And I think the same applies to Storyfire. If I'm going on Storyfire, I'm not going on there to see like, you know, the latest news on Storyfire, most likely. I am most likely going there to watch exclusive content from creators. And yeah, there's other things that you could criticize Storyfire for in its early version. I think as a creator, there are more like risks and challenges that go into it, especially with the current sign-up process. When I was going through that, I just felt very uncomfortable, especially since they were asked for like a Twitter handle, like that sort of thing. It wasn't a required thing, thankfully, but it did discourage me for quite a bit because I don't use Twitter. I hate Twitter, and like I guess it's a nice tool for creators, but you know, I guess that maybe they use it for some sort of verification process. I don't know. I don't want to really speak on that much because I'm not a verified creator on it. All in all, just Storyfire, like I hyped it up a little bit earlier on in this video, and I'll just say this: I think it's got a ways to go. I think that both in terms of appealing to creators and appealing to users, it's got a bit of time to go, man. Like it's not all there yet. But I don't think that should discourage people from going over there. I probably went a little bit overboard with this outro, but really I just wanted to explain those last few things. Let me know if this commentary thing is garbage, if you think that I did a shit job at it, or like whatever the fuck. I don't really care. I'm not really planning on making this a regular thing that I do. It's really just kind of a thing that I felt like doing, felt like experimenting with, and really I was just tired of going on and not seeing people talk about just how shitty the YouTube experience is for viewers.